Our study was focused on landscape management of the Fort Bragg landscape. The Department of Defense invests in science that helps them support military installations. There was a group of us conducting this research on Fort Bragg, included folks from North Carolina State University, where we are now, folks from Portland State University in Portland, Oregon, and someone from Harvard University. And we were forecasting the future of Fort Bragg. How is this landscape going to change into the future given climate change, given hurricanes, and given the management that they're doing on this landscape today? If you think about a weather model or weather forecasting, they're taking all kinds of data from satellites and weather stations, and they're creating these weather forecasts. And that's exactly what we were doing. Only the weather, they forecast 5 days out, and we were forecasting 5 decades into the future.
So I've studied forests for about 20 years. For me, this represented an opportunity to bridge, wildlife ecology and forest ecology, and to learn more about how climate change might affect the red-cockaded woodpecker. A lot of my work focuses on trying to understand what will happen, not just characterizing what the forests look like now, but really trying to understand how they'll look in the next 50 years.
We are looking at red-cockaded woodpecker habitat. Will it increase in the future? Will it decrease?
One of the findings of the study was that hurricanes reduced red-cockaded woodpecker habitat by 40%. This is a species that is already restricted to these really small area of the country.
So the risk with hurricanes is going to blow all the big trees down, right? And that would destroy their habitat. The Fort Bragg landscape represents some of the best remaining habitat in the Southeast that has a whole host of species that are now really rare throughout the Southeast. So it's not just the woodpeckers, it's the pitcher plants and the Venus flytraps and many different birds and insects and mammals. We also simulated how prescribed burning might change due to climate change.
What would happen under climate change, where you might not be able to burn as frequently as you might like because the temperatures are high or the humidity is such that you couldn't burn. One of the major findings was that the burn windows, the time period in which you can burn this ecosystem, decreased over time.
Some years there might be half as many days available for doing prescribed burning as there is today. What I really want the folks at Fort Bragg to know, from the managers up to the commander, is first and foremost, they're doing a great job. Like, what they're doing is really keeping that landscape healthy, both now and into the future. You go down there and you witness the prescribed burning, and you see the folks on the ground. These folks really know the biology of the plants and the animals and the butterflies and the woodpeckers and so on. They're just doing a fantastic job. Looking into the future, we do need to think about climate change and hurricanes, and what they should do is make sure that there's a diversity of ages of trees on that landscape. So we know that really old trees are great for woodpecker habitat. They're also the most vulnerable to hurricanes. And so you don't want to have all your eggs in one basket, so to speak. So you want to make sure that there's a diversity of tree ages. So if the oldest trees are knocked down in a huge hurricane, a direct hit, that the medium-aged trees will be right behind those older trees, ready to create new habitat.
Forest managers at Fort Bragg could begin to look at those long-term trends of, are we starting to see a decline in days that we can burn, declines in the burn window, or is it fairly constant over time?
Fort Bragg is unique because of fire. The habitats here are unique because of fire. We have 5 endangered species. On top of that, we have another 70+ species that are listed as rare at some level, either by state or federal governments. Of those 70+ species, 65 or so depend on fire for their existence.
I think when people think of Fort Bragg, they don't really think of rare plants or ecosystems. In fact, I was a soldier in the 90s and I didn't have any concept of it. Now I see it from a different perspective. The diversity that we have on military lands is an indicator of health for the training lands, and that's something that the Army is very interested in, having the training lands as healthy as possible for as far into the future as possible.
you.